There is a specific anxiety keeping people awake around the world right now, as we watch missiles cross borders in Eastern Europe, as fighter jets circle over the Pacific, and proxy groups exchange fire across the Middle East. The same silent question keeps surfacing. Are the world's major powers currently standing on the edge of a third world war? Look at this measurement. This is the doomsday clock, maintained by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists to track our proximity to global catastrophe. Right now, it is set at 89 seconds to midnight. Humanity has never been measured this close to the brink. We tend to imagine that world wars begin with massive, sudden declarations of global combat, but history shows us a different pattern. The first two global conflicts started with isolated incidents, an assassination in Sarajevo or a localized border push. Those small sparks fell onto a web of defense alliances, dragging superpower after superpower into the fire. That exact mechanism of escalating alliances is currently active across the globe. The geopolitical structures are nearly identical to the mid-20th century, but today's arsenals carry thousands of times more destructive yield. To understand exactly how close we are to midnight, we have to look past the top-line anxiety. We need to examine the specific, localized sparks burning right now and map out exactly how one misstep could ignite them all. To see where the tripwires are, we have to look at the ground level. Right now, there are 3 active regional powder kegs with the potential to draw in global superpowers. First is Eastern Europe. The grinding conflict in Ukraine has concentrated Russian and NATO-aligned forces dangerously close to one another. If a single stray missile crosses the border and strikes a NATO member like Poland, it could trigger Article 5, the treaty clause that obligates the United States, Britain, France, and others to respond militarily as a unified bloc. Second is the Pacific, specifically the waters surrounding Taiwan. Here, the United States and China are locked in a standoff for dominance over semiconductor manufacturing and control of the global supply chain. A blockade or invasion in these waters instantly forces global navies into a direct, high-stakes collision. Third is the Middle East. With Iran steadily approaching the nuclear weapons threshold, an expanding network of proxy groups is exchanging heavy fire with regional rivals. Because this region controls a massive portion of the world's energy supply, foreign militaries are already operating in these exact crosshairs. Navigating these geopolitical realities takes careful analysis. If you want to understand the hidden mechanics driving world events, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to know, and subscribe to Infovision Media. These 3 zones are heavily militarized and deeply interconnected. A command error, a radar glitch, or a rogue commander in any of these regions could force a synchronized military response across all of them. But physical borders are only half the threat. Before troops are ever deployed, the next global conflict will begin in invisible domains, where the fighting has technically already started. Modern cyber warfare allows state actors to target civilian infrastructure from thousands of miles away. Hackers have already infiltrated national power grids. If a full-scale conflict begins, the first move will be shutting down civilian electricity and severing the SWIFT network, instantly freezing the international banking system. Then there is the orbital domain. Major militaries possess anti-satellite weapons. If a single satellite is destroyed in orbit, the resulting high-speed shrapnel will tear through neighboring satellites. This chain reaction, known as the Kessler syndrome, would permanently blind global GPS, weather tracking, and communications. Finally, the integration of artificial intelligence means military drones and defense systems are increasingly operating without human oversight. An autonomous system misidentifying a threat could launch a preemptive strike faster than human commanders can hit the abort button. Beyond the destruction of cities, a modern world war instantly blinds, silences, and financially disconnects the entire global population in minutes. It is tempting for citizens in non-aligned nations to think they can sit this out. There is a persistent belief that declaring diplomatic neutrality provides a shield against the violence. It doesn't. Look at a geographically non-aligned country like India. It is currently managing ongoing border standoffs in Ladakh and Kashmir, sharing heavily disputed borders with 2 separate nuclear-armed neighbors. A global distraction provides the perfect cover for regional rivals to settle local disputes by force. Even without a shot fired within their borders, the economic fallout oars no one. If a conflict in the Pacific halts semiconductor exports from Taiwan, automotive, medical, and consumer electronics manufacturing worldwide will halt. Domestic supply chains will rupture, and inflation will instantly skyrocket in every supposedly neutral market. The modern global economy is too tightly woven. Geographic distance and diplomatic neutrality offer zero protection from the financial collapse and supply shortages triggered by a superpower collision. We have to address the ultimate consequence of this escalation. There is a dangerous misconception that modern precision weapons mean a nuclear exchange would be limited to a few specific military bases. The math of nuclear strategy dictates massive retaliation. Within 45 minutes, thousands of warheads will cross the atmosphere and vaporize major global hubs. Within 24 hours, the ensuing electromagnetic pulses will permanently fry whatever is left of the power grid and the internet. The secondary effects are worse. Intense fires from burning cities will loft billions of tons of soot into the upper atmosphere, blocking out the sun. Global temperatures will drop by an average of 15 degrees Celsius. This nuclear winter will freeze crops worldwide, causing global famine that will kill billions more than the initial blasts. If the worst happens, survival experts recommend preparing a strict 72-hour kit: 3 liters of water per person per day, non-perishable food, iodine pills to protect the thyroid from atmospheric radiation, and a battery-powered radio to receive emergency broadcasts when the digital networks die. We need to be absolutely clear. A Third World War is not a geopolitical chess match where one side wins. It is an extinction-level event that will permanently reset human civilization. But despite the flashing red lights and ticking clock, we must remember one crucial fact. The missiles haven't flown. The war has not started. The very weapons that threaten us are currently acting as brakes. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction guarantees any nation attacking ensures its own demise. Because of that terrifying reality, international diplomatic channels remain open, and leaders are still talking at the negotiating table. Beyond statecraft, there is the overwhelming power of the global public. Polling shows the vast majority of the world stands in strict opposition to war. Public pressure, widespread protests, and constant scrutiny force governments to hesitate before escalating. The clock is ticking, but the operators are still at the controls. Which path do you think our leaders will choose? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please like, share, and subscribe to Infovision Media to keep these critical conversations going. World War III is only as close as we collectively allow it to be. Sustaining peace requires an active, daily choice and constant global awareness. We still have the time to make that choice.